The crimson liquid it held did not look like champagne. "Blood for you, cocktail," my mother said brightly. Ethan took a sip and nodded, as if pleasantly surprised by the taste.
"Very nice," he said. "And the house looks lovely."
He flashed the masterly smile that made all manner of human and supernatural folk weak in the knees. "We had so much fun working with the party planner," my mother said, hand on her chest.
"Planning a good event is a very satisfying process,"
Ethan said, then slid me a glance.
"In fact, I requested one of our vampires act as a social coordinator for the house."
"It wasn't a request," I murmured. "It was a punishment."
"Was it?"
His expression was all innocence.
"I must remember it differently."
I just shook my head. "Well, in any event, you'll have fun tonight." That remained to be seen, but I'd give it my best shot. I looked around, scanning the faces I knew, and didn't see my brother Robert or my father. "Robert and Dad aren't here?" My mother tried to hide her sudden wince, but not successfully. She traded it for a light smile that wasn't any more convincing, and gestured offhandedly. "They're at a real estate closing in New York. You know how they are." Maybe there'd been a closing, or maybe my father was still my father and my brother was still my brother. The former didn't know how to deal with me. The latter was still angry because he believed I'd ruined the possibility of Merritt Properties' future business with Sorcha and Adrian Reed. Sorcha was a sorceress whose plan to control supernaturals we'd recently thwarted. Adrian was her entrepreneurial husband, dead by her own hand. Their own actions had led to their downfall, magically and economically. But since I was a supernatural, Robert blamed me. "They are who they are," I said, and tried a smile that wasn't any better than hers. But I fixed it into place, because this night was about Ethan and love and celebration. It wasn't about my brother's petty and misguided tantrum. When Ethan picked that moment to put a hand at my back, to remind me that he was beside me, whatever other drama came our way, I felt better. We were who we were. My mother slipped an arm into Ethan's. "I have so many people to introduce you to. They're dying to meet you, if you'll excuse the pun."
"It's one of my favorite puns,"
Ethan said with a smile.
"I look forward to meeting more of Merritt's family. They always have such interesting stories to tell."
I could feel the blood drain from my face. Maybe the couple's shower hadn't been such a good idea after all. "Let's stick to recent history, please." But Ethan just smiled.
"I know all the recent history," he said. "It's the rest I'm interested in."
"We'll be back," my mother said lightly, then whisked him into the arms of her chattering friends. I wasn't alone for long. "Merritt!" I looked back, found my blue-haired best friend, classically pretty, pale and petite, moving through the crowd. Mallory Bell was escorted by her husband, Catcher. He was taller and buff, with pale skin and close-cropped hair that set off intense green eyes. "Happy wedding shower," she said, squeezing me in a hug. "The place looks great, for a concrete box." "That sums it up pretty well," I said. She snagged a flute of pretty pink juice from a waiter with a silver tray. "These are mango and dragon fruit. You should try one." I held up my blood cocktail, grinned at her. "I'll try yours if you try mine." "Been there, done that." I tilted my head at her. "You have?" She lifted a shoulder. "You had those bottles of blood for you at the house." I'd shared Mallory's Wicker Park home before moving into Cadogan House. I'd left partly because of my obligations as sentinel, and partly to avoid her and Catcher's any room goes style of lovemaking. I'd vastly exceeded my personal quota of naked sorcerer sightings. "I had a sip one night." She wrinkled her nose. "It was not delightful." I was a vampire, and I wouldn't even call blood delightful. But as much as Blood for You's marketing team tried to pretend otherwise, it wasn't about the taste. It was about the need, the comfort, the satisfaction. However unsavory the practice might have been to humans, blood filled a vampire's belly like nothing else did.
To each your own.